The Royal Rumble was this past Saturday, and just like many of you, it is my favorite pay-per-view. It's my favorite time of the year. The element of surprises, the element of return from injuries, debuts, NXT call-ups, women joining the men's rumble, men joining the women's rumble. It's my favorite freaking time of the year. And at this year's Royal Rumble, we have surprises, we had NXT call-ups, we had a return from injury. What we didn't have are legends. My prediction for a legend returning was AJ Lee. It was highly rumored. I gassed myself up in this little head of mine. She is my freaking GOAT. And yes, because CM Punk is back in the WWE, yes, I did think that AJ Lee was going to show up, even if it's for a one-off. That being said, even though I was disappointed that she wasn't there, it didn't take away from my enjoyment of the Rumble. And I did see a lot of negative feedback on the internet saying this Royal Rumble sucked. There were no legends. There really weren't any surprises. It was predictable. And to the ones that are saying that the Royal Rumble is predictable, the women's was more so predictable, but we still had the return of Liv Morgan coming in at number 30. And there's also rumors about WWE having huge plans for her. There was also the debut of Jade Cargill. A lot of us didn't see Cody Rhodes finishing the story anymore, or at the very least winning the Royal Rumble back to back. And you can't fight me with this. The internet was going on a frenzy saying Cody Rhodes is never going to finish the story. Most of us, including myself, thought that CM Punk was going to be the winner of the men's Royal Rumble. So this idea that the Royal Rumble was predictable, just shut the fuck. Going back to the women's Royal Rumble at number 2. We had Trinity, we had Naomi, we had the return of Naomi. She received a huge welcoming from Tropicana Field. Now, shortly afterwards, we had, but I think it is the biggest surprise of the women's Royal Rumble, because not only did we have the Forbidden Door open just a couple years back with Mickie James being the TNA Knockouts Women's Champion, we had the same TNA Knockout Women's Champion Forbidden Door situation, which I don't even think it's a Forbidden Door anymore. I think it's just a partnership, that being of Jordynne freaking Grace. And she is just such a beefy freaking monster. What's great about this is I just recently started watching TNA Impact. So I just saw the match between Trinity and Jordynne Grace just a couple days before the Rumble, and I marked the fuck out. So I wasn't thinking of a Jordynne Grace surprise debut at the Royal Rumble. I'm going to say this about spoilers now, because I did not read any spoilers, and I know a lot of people don't intentionally go and look for spoilers, but a lot of these spoiler alerts suck. Like, you're not going to post a picture of Jordynne Grace with an emblem of the Royal Rumble and then in the caption say, spoiler alert. No, you put that picture of Jordynne Grace as a second picture. But I know that's how it was ruined for a lot of people. And unfortunately, on my chat when I was live streaming, I had 2 people come in and say, spoiler alert, Jordynne Grace is going to be here. And I went the fuck off. I did receive a ton of backlash for telling people that we don't give a shit about your spoiler alerts. We don't give a shit about your rumors. But Jordynne Grace is showing up. I did not put that in this Rolodex of predictions. And when she did show up, I still was excited. I was a little tainted and I was a little freaking salty because wrestling etiquette is lost among a lot of you guys. So please, if you enjoy watching wrestling with spoiler alerts, keep it to your damn self. Or if you're going to post it on Discord, there's a way where you can black out the text and caption it spoiler alert. We had 2 NXT call-ups, and that was Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez, and those were my 2 NXT prediction call-ups. I did say Lash Legend, and I wish Lash Legend was there, because can you imagine Jade Cargill, Lash Legend, and Bianca Belair all in the same freaking ring? Speaking of Jade Cargill made her freaking debut, man, and she is just such a beautiful, stunning woman. And if you didn't watch AEW, I'm so happy, because you're about to be blessed with such a beautiful specimen of a woman. And Bianca versus Jade Cargill, please make it WrestleMania 40 right now. And speaking of predictions, I received so much hate this weekend, and I don't really care, because I enjoy wrestling the way that I enjoy wrestling, and I have a community that I watch wrestling with. I do go live for every major pay-per-view. I also do go live for Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. I did add TNA to that. So if you do want to be a part of my live streams, come on in. You'll probably hear me rant or bitch at somebody because people just don't have wrestling etiquette. But also because a lot of you guys are annoying. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm fickle and I'm annoying. Yes. But there's one thing I'm not going to do. Fatal 4-Way, when that happened, I was not on the internet saying, I called it. Bailey winning the Rumble, I'm not going to be on the internet saying, I called it. Roman Reigns winning his match at the Royal Rumble, I'm not going to say, I called it. Now, I made a freaking video, a last minute Royal Rumble prediction the day before of the Rumble, and I said that R-Truth is going to unintentionally finish the story. He was going to enter the Women's Rumble, his music was going to hit, and he was going to eliminate Nia Jax. After he eliminates Nia Jax, the ref was going to look at him and say, this is the Women's Royal Rumble. And R-Truth is so saddened by his mistakes, he goes and consoles Nia Jax and says, that was all me. My bad. That was my prediction. R-Truth did not eliminate Nia Jax. Nia Jax threw R-Truth out, and Adam Pearce was the one that told him that it was the Women's Rumble. Regardless of the fact, when something is so unorthodox or out of pocket, this happens with my community all the time. They call out some randomness, like Elektra Lopez is showing up on SmackDown. We all mark out, because if it's not something that's completely predictable, but if it's something that you're predicting that this could happen, and it happens, that should be celebrated. And of course, I had a lot of dudes on my page saying, you didn't predict anything, that was predictable, and blah blah blah. In my internet world, I didn't hear anything or read anything about an R-Truth spot in the Women's Rumble. Now, am I delusional and think that I was the only one that thought of this? Absolutely not. I am just so freaking happy because I went into detail with my prediction. I didn't just predict a R-Truth comedy spot. So just let me freaking enjoy my prediction. We did have a return of Liv Morgan. They did give us that 3-second delay before her music hit. And I know the internet is mad about that one, because they were like, does she really deserve that 3-second break? Like, oh, it's Liv Morgan. Hey man, she's returning from injury, and she is one of the most liked women in the women's roster. You can criticize her wrestling, you can criticize her title reign. A Liv Morgan return was set to happen, so when it was number 30, you couldn't have expected a Sasha Banks, you couldn't have expected an AJ Lee. I do think she should probably go to NXT and work with the women there, because she has a lot of potential. We've seen what NXT can do for the talents, and I'm not saying that as a demotion, because it is NXT, it's its own brand. Moving on to the Fatal 4-Way, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Roman Reigns. The match was probably the worst match of the night. The Fatal 4-Way did rank number 4 on my list, the Women's Rumble being number 1. Solo came out, and I don't know why this man wears a hoodie every single time he comes out. We know it's freaking you, dude. There's no reason for you to wear that freaking hoodie. It is the Royal Rumble, so when I saw Solo, I was hoping that we would see Jacob Fatu or Zilla Fatu come out and take Solo out, and then Jacob looks at Roman Reigns and says, I'm the true fucking tribal chief. It didn't happen, but I did hear that they were in the crowd and they were hyped. They were hyped for Jay and Jimmy. We did see a spot where Randy Orton did like a delayed RKO to AJ Styles. He then RKO'd LA Knight, and then there was a Superman punch turned into an RKO, which was probably my favorite spot of that match. Roman Reigns did end up retaining. A lot of us were confused as to why the Fatal 4-Way was before the KO and Logan Paul match, and now we know freaking why. Next up, we do have the number 2 match of the night, which is Logan Paul versus KO. I enjoyed watching this match, and this was so much better than the Fatal 4-Way. I did like the spots where Logan Paul was trying to cheat, and then KO took the brass knuckles himself, and I thought it was GG's. I thought it was done. But as soon as the ref was about to hit 3, he noticed the brass knuckles on KO's hand, and Logan Paul ended up freaking retaining. Next up, we do have the men's Royal Rumble. And this one was ranked at number 3. Number 1, Women's Rumble. Number 2, KO versus Logan. Number 3, Men's Rumble. And number 4 was a Fatal 4-Way. We had Jimmy and Jay face off, and then I felt like they were, like, what is a little fighting game? Like, it looked a little goofy. I'm not going to cap. The face-off was great. Jay Uso is just, well, Jay and Jimmy, they're both freaking goofy. The faces that Jay Uso makes, he just reminds me of Clifford the Big Red Dog with his eyes just like that. He's just so funny. Like, He's just a freaking character. And then you have Jimmy always being goofy. So when they started swinging at each other, I thought to myself, this is more so entertaining. I really wasn't thinking like, oh, those two really hate each other. I didn't. But I'm just excited that we're setting up Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania 40 because that is where we are all expecting it to go. We did see Andrade, and I'm so happy he's back home because AEW was doing stuff with Andrade, but they weren't utilizing him at his full potential, and the storylines and the feuds that he was involved in, it was okay, but it wasn't anything memorable. We do have the LWO here. We have Santos with the Garza brothers. There was a face-off with Santos and Andrade, and it looks like Andrade is gonna be joining the LWO, or he's just gonna be doing his own thing. From NXT, we did get Carmelo Hayes. We got Braun Breaker, which is rumored that Braun Breaker took Brock Lesnar's spot. Obviously, we know why Brock Lesnar was removed. At number 15, we got Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes came out like Cody Rhodes had an entrance. And I think a lot of us should have known right there and then. I still didn't think he was going to win the Rumble. After we saw Cody, and then we saw Gunther, and then we saw Drew, we were like, okay. The final four of the Royal Rumble are starting to appear. But in the midst of the final four coming out, we had another R-Truth comedy spot. And I never thought I would see a tag in the Royal Rumble. The comedy spots for R-Truth are just so perfect because this man came out. He was trying to get Dom to tag him. Dom was confused and Dom was like, what are you doing, dude? But when Dom needed it because he was in trouble, he went in and tagged R-Truth. Another highlight of the Rumble was Awesome Truth doing, I don't know how to freaking do it, but that was cool too. At number 27, we did have CM Punk. And I thought, damn, he is coming at the coveted spot of 27. I thought for sure he was going to win. But obviously we did have Cody Rhodes and CM Punk at the very end. This man said, I didn't wait 10 years to be taken out by Dusty's son. As soon as he said that line, the crowd started booing. And we are maybe sort of seeing a CM Punk heel turn. I don't freaking know.
On me. My bad.
Cody Rhodes was the winner of the Royal Rumble. He pointed at the WrestleMania sign and then immediately he said, Roman Reigns, you part-time tribal chief, I'm coming after you. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I do post daily content on this channel, and if you do want to join one of my live streams, I am live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and sometimes Saturday on Twitch and YouTube, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Until next time.